While Rachel Dolezal identifies herself as African American, her Montana birth certificate shows she was born to two white parents.
She took me aside and told me to make sure that no one found out where she was actually from.
The school district says it became aware of an explicit account run by Dolezal on the website OnlyFans.
I thought I was pro-black until I seen Rachel Dolezal.
I'm committed to living my life and not hiding in fear. So
after we adopted the 4 children, Rachel began to focus more on African American issues.
I just know how it feels to be a black woman. Usually don't nobody want to be black.
Rachel Dolezal that was a mistake. You get on OnlyFans. Log out of that, get back to braiding hair.
There's nothing wrong with being yourself. In 2015, a story broke that would ignite a cultural firestorm. A woman named Rachel Dolezal, then president of the NAACP chapter in Spokane, Washington, and an instructor of African American studies, was outed by her own parents, who revealed to the world that she was not black, but white. Welcome back to Parke Jones. This is another episode of The Great Pretenders. Be sure to engage with the content, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hype the video. Rachel's story raises questions that many of you are not ready to answer. Who gets to claim blackness? What is racial identity? And why aren't you all a little bit more careful of who you invite to the cookout? Let's start from the beginning. Rachel was born in 1977 in Lincoln County, Montana to Ruth Ann and Larry Dolezal, both white and of Czech, German, and Swedish descent. She grew up in a deeply religious, rural household, homeschooled, and somewhat isolated. Rachel said she felt disconnected from her upbringing and fascinated by Black culture and history. Her parents eventually adopted several Black children, and she claimed the experience shaped her connectivity to Black identity.
To justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
That's right.
And I think that this incident is kind of following a long line of a pattern throughout several hundred years here in America. It's not isolated just in Spokane. It's not something just targeting me. It's targeting the larger Black community.
By the early 2000s, Rachel left Montana, attended Belhaven University in Mississippi, got married, and later earned a Master's of Fine Arts in Painting from Howard University, a historically Black university in Washington, D.C. It was there that her racial identity began to blur. Rachel identified to classmates as transracial and started darkening her skin and styling her hair in traditionally Black styles to help support her narrative. Former classmates at Howard recalled confusion about how she described herself and her upbringing. Sometimes she said she grew up in a teepee hunting food with bows and arrows, and other times she grew up in South Africa. In 2002, Rachel filed a discrimination lawsuit against Howard, alleging the university had denied her teaching assistantships, scholarships, and other opportunities because she was a white woman. But how could that be? Because, again, she was going around campus telling her classmates that she was transracial.
Lawsuit Dolezal filed in 2002 against Howard University, a historically Black college in Washington, D.C. At the time, Dolezal went by her married name, Rachel Moore. She sued both the university and the dean of the art school, where she was pursuing a master's degree, and applied for a teaching position. In the lawsuit, Dolezal claims she lost out on the teaching position, was denied scholarship aid, and even had some of her artwork removed from a student exhibition because the school favored Black students over her. Dolezal said she suffered medical and emotional distress from the discrimination, but the judge found that she failed to give evidence providing race was a factor, and the complaint was dismissed.
So it wasn't discrimination after all. Rachel just wasn't as talented as she thought she was. After graduating, she packed her bags and moved west, teaching African American culture and art history, volunteering in racial justice work, and embedding herself fully in Black spaces. By 2014, Rachel had built a credible public persona as a Black woman and civil rights activist. She was appointed president of the Spokane NAACP, taught African Studies courses at Eastern Washington University, and chairs Spokane's Office of Police Ombudsman Commission, which reviewed police misconduct complaints. She spoke passionately about race, police brutality, and systematic inequality. Photographs showed her with tan skin and tightly curled hair. Now, it's unclear why the good people of Spokane, Washington were unable to identify a Black or biracial person, but regardless, in some people's minds, there was no question that she was a Black woman.
She appears to, be a little bit darker skinned, and I was like, okay, well, maybe, she is.
But she got away with it. She fixed herself up to look like she was half and half. So she did a good job at it, though, until her parents stepped forward.
The unraveling began in June 2015 when a local TV reporter investigated a story about a hate crime letter found in the NAACP's mailbox that Rachel had access to. And this is where things get interesting because the letter did not have a stamp, which means it wasn't mailed. It had to have been placed in the mailbox.
On Wednesday, Dolezal was grabbing her mail from this post office here on North Monroe when she noticed a large envelope with no return address. She says she'll never forget what she found inside. Today, Rachel Dolezal was giving another speech on human rights and equality, trying to forget the mail she received last week.
I immediately was struck by pictures of pointed towards me, the viewer, and no more hesitation in writing, and also pictures of pictures of me speaking at the Martin Luther King rally.
The images continued for nearly 20 pages.
A picture of a grid of Black male faces that were used as target practice in a Florida police practice.
The NAACP office in Spokane said that they never had incidences of hate crimes until Rachel became president, which is when a reporter started doing some more digging and looking into her background and confronted her during an interview discussing those hate crime letters.
If people hear that you have a key and they know that you've been victimized before, what would you say to the folks that say maybe you put that letter in there because you were one of the people that have the keys to do so?
I don't know that I even have any words for that. As a Black Studies professor, I know what these images mean and take them very seriously given the history of racism in the United States.
Speaking of that, did your dad ever make it to Spokane in January for the ribbon cutting?
No, actually, he has, unfortunately has lung cancer and was not able to get cleared for surgery, and so.
God, that sounds like a terrible break for you. I'm sure that he would have been very proud of you. Is that your dad?
Yeah, that's my dad.
This man right here is your father? Right there?
You have a question about that?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I was wondering if your dad really is an African-American man.
That's a very, I don't know what you're implying.
Are you African-American?
I don't understand the question of, I did tell you that yes, that's my dad. And he was unable to come in January.
Are your parents, are they white?
And then Rachel's biological parents entered the chat. Holding up family photos, Ruth Ann and Larry Dolezal confirmed that Rachel was their biological daughter and that she was white.
While Rachel Dolezal identifies herself as African American, her Montana birth certificate shows she was born to 2 white parents. They say she gradually began referring to herself as Black nearly a decade ago.
It started kind of gradually, maybe around 2007 or so, but we first heard about her claims to be African American from a newspaper article from the Spokane, Washington area. And that was the first we knew she was doing it. She has never claimed to be biracial or African American in our presence.
The internet exploded. Memes, debates, think pieces, and late night jokes flooded social media. But beneath the humor was deeper anger and confusion, especially among Black activists who saw Rachel's deception as an act of racial appropriation. The public wanted to know the how or the why. And we got a glimpse into her madness when Rachel's adopted brothers shared her transition into Blackness.
She took me aside and told me to make sure that no one found out where she was actually from and that she was going to change her identity and for me not to blow her cover. She had the best intentions and she did some good, but she did not go about it in the right way. She grew up white and she was really privileged growing up.
It started out with the hair and then she'd have, probably a little darker tan, and it was very progressive.
Dolezal's predecessor as chapter president telling me he had no idea Dolezal might be white.
You had no idea your successor was white.
Right. It just didn't matter with me, really. So she said, I went by what she said.
And what did she say?
She said African American.
Within days of the revelation, Rachel resigned as president of the Spokane NAACP and was removed from several public positions. Her employer, Eastern Washington University, allowed her teaching contract to lapse, and public trust in her advocacy work collapsed overnight. She appeared on multiple talk shows, including NBC's Today Show, insisting that she still identified as Black, comparing her experience to gender transition. Her comments deepened the controversy, sparking widespread backlash.
Fight for our rights. Take the opportunities of our own and use them for yourself, for your own personal gain, queen. Come on, would a white woman's box braids really look that neat? She can teach me a thing or two about being a Black king because she raises Black children. April Fools, Rachel! I know the real you! You are not one of us! You thought you could throw some Senegalese twist in and fool me? I don't care how neat your hair is, because your shit do be a little neat. You're still not a Black woman! Erica Badont, Minnie Wimperton, Kelly Noland.
No matter how hard she tries, she will never fully understand the lived experiences of Black women. That's why her cosplaying as a Black woman and taking on leadership positions under false pretenses is harmful and candidly a bit odd.
I just know how it feels to be a Black woman. Usually don't nobody want to be Black.
Because what self-proclaimed Black activist takes a frivolous lawsuit to a historically Black university, knowing that historically these institutions have already been underfunded by the federal government? Or instead of accepting the fact that jobs and scholarships went to more qualified applicants who had the talent and experience she lacked, she throws a tantrum and believes that her subpar work deserves a cookie. Just listening to Rachel discuss her experience at Howard University highlights the cognizant dissonance.
No matter what it was always like, you know, the privilege factor was why I was winning these awards, not the merit itself. So, you know, in all honesty, if I could have chosen, I probably would go back and not submit as much work, just not because I'd want to like make myself small or whatever to make other people feel comfortable, but just because I don't like, you know, I didn't intend to dominate in that way. I was just trying to do my best, you know? So that kind of sucked. And then my painting professor, you know, I won't say his name for legal purposes or whatever, but yeah, he ended up, when I got pregnant, my second year, I was pregnant with Franklin. Mm-hmm. And he would always make comments like, you know, like if you're fertile, you're so sexy, and my wife can't have any more children, and like I just, you know, like how's our baby doing, and like all kind of stuff. And I would always just kind of like shut him down, you know, let him know like, look, I'm married, dude, this isn't your baby. He ended up becoming chair of the department that second year, and he withdrew my scholarship 2 weeks before classes started. And he said, you know, you have white relatives so they can pay for your tuition, and you also can come back when you're back in shape and have a 1-year-old. And other people need opportunities.
And let's not forget the numerous hate crimes Rachel reported to police that have never been substantiated. At one point, Rachel claimed that she was the victim of hate crimes on at least 8 separate occasions.
Part of why Dolezal says she was fearful in this recent hate mail case is because of past crimes that she's reported. Dolezal teaches classes at Eastern Washington University. In her bio on Eastern's webpage, she talks about 8 documented hate crimes she reported in North Idaho. A public records request there turns up 3 reports. In November 2009, employees at the Human Rights Education Institute report finding a swastika stuck to the building. Police talked to Dolezal, dusted for fingerprints, but didn't find find a match. Security cameras, which normally operated at the building, did not record the incident. The case was closed. In April 2010, Dolezal reported someone left a harassing and vulgar phone message saying she favored dark-skinned students in her classes over fair-haired, light-skinned students. Police determined it was a one-time call, and they didn't have evidence to prosecute. And in June 2010, Dolezal reported finding what she believed was a rope fashioned into a noose outside her Coeur d'Alene home. She told investigators she felt threatened because she said someone had threatened her at work about her ethnicity. Investigators talked to a neighbor who owned the property. He told them he hung the rope a year before to dress a deer, and that he had told Dolezal what it was. The investigator said he called Dolezal to follow up. She didn't call back. That case was closed as well.
Look, all I'm saying is if mainstream media didn't clown Rachel Dolezal as hard as it did, I would have thought that she was a part of some government conspiracy sanctioned by the CIA, because the way she was able to infiltrate Black spaces just doesn't make any sense.
I would go to her office and we would just talk, and like she was just hella cool. Like she'll just tell me about her struggles of being a Black woman, and I'd be like, damn, like we was connecting, Like she told me like one time, like one of the things that was kind of like, okay, it doesn't really add up, but I'm not gonna question it, was like she told me, I don't know what we were talking about, she was like, oh yeah, like when I lived in Montana, like I used to like live in a teepee and hunt for my own food. And I was like, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Like, she's Native American and Black, The two definitely correlate, the Native American part of it, makes sense. Or even lecture sometimes, like if she was just like a school lecture where anybody could come to it, like she'd be going in at the white people real hard, and I'd be like, oh Rachel, hold on girl, reel it in, you doing a little bit too much, reel it in. And I'd be feeling bad for the white people in class. And like it's crazy because other people told me, they were like, yo, there's something off with her. And I'm like, no guys, like my LS was like, yeah, nah, I don't really, there's something weird about her. I was like, no, like why would you even question her? Like I don't see what you're talking about. Like
in 2018, Netflix released The Rachel Divide, a documentary following Rachel and her children as they attempted to rebuild their lives. The film showed her living under a new name, Niche Amare Diallo, legally changed in 2016, though she continued to use both names publicly. She was unemployed, largely ostracized, and relying on hairstyling to make ends meet. Critics argue that the documentary humanized her without holding her accountable. And the controversy didn't end there, because in 2019, Washington state prosecutors charged Rachel Dolezal with welfare fraud, alleging she illegally collected nearly $9,000 in public assistance.
Calmly and confidently walking out of Spokane's county courthouse, Nkechi Diallo outwardly showed no signs of regret.
Nkechi Diallo.
Just minutes prior, she faced a judge, charged with stealing nearly $9 grand from the state.
Those two charges, and you never plead guilty or not guilty. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
State charges indicate her choice to remain in the spotlight became her undoing. According to court documents, the Department of Social and Health Services investigation showed she had claimed an income of only $300 per month. Money, she said, came from friends. But investigators learned about her very public book deal, revenue from which she hadn't reported to the state.
She repaid the money and entered a diversion agreement to avoid jail, but the charges further damaged her reputation, and rightfully so. Then, in 2022, her name reappeared in headlines when private photos from her OnlyFans account circulated online.
I can't say her real name because I can't, her new name, because I can't pronounce it. Rachel Dolezal. She's on OnlyFans now. I didn't get on there because my broke ass, I don't have any money. Okay, but I did see some pictures that got leaked. It's not worth it. Not worth it at all. Made a mistake getting on Rachel Dolezal. That was a mistake, you getting on OnlyFans. Log out of that, get back to braiding hair. That's just my opinion. Okay, you believe you're Black? I have no quarrel with that whatsoever. That's fine, you can do that though. But forgive me for saying this, your ass don't belong on OnlyFans. Get off of that, get back to braiding hair or cosmetology or whatever. Go back to, fry some fried eggs or whatever. Get off of OnlyFans.
In 2024, she was then let go from her teaching position at Catalina Foothills Unified School District once they found out about the OnlyFans account. And side note, we really need a case study on the activist to OnlyFans pipeline. Anyways, Rachel's story is both bizarre and profoundly American. It's about race, privilege, and identity. It's about a woman who stepped into a culture not her own and was embraced until the truth surfaced. And despite the repeated backlash to this day, she continues to disrespect the Black community, maintaining that she identifies Black culturally and continues to defend her choices. For many, she remains a symbol of appropriation and deceit. For others, a cautionary tale about what happens when identity becomes performative. But one truth is universal. It's okay to be yourself. If you enjoy the content on this channel, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, and watch the videos on the screen. I'm your host, Parke Jones, and I'll catch you on the next one.